takes the red. Then Clark will come in. Oh, problem here. Rivers with
2 Wheels is proudly powered by Broadlink, delivering serious bandwidth for serious business.
Welcome to 2 Wheels 2014. Coming up, we catch up with the Broadlink KTM Dakar Rally team. Stay tuned. Well, that's what the end of the Dakar looked like, and Rian van Niekerk riding in behind the Mark Comer KTM. And Rian, it was great for you to come in right behind Mark Comer in the final there. You rode as a backup, actually, to him for that final stage.
Yes, David, I was fortunate enough that I had a big enough time gap between the guy in front of me and behind me, and KTM asked me to be a backup rider for Comer. It's a really big privilege for me to do that, and I didn't mind at all. It was quite a great feeling.
Obviously one of the toughest Dakars ever. That's what the guys on the inside were saying. How did you find it with those 2 extra marathon stages?
Yeah, for sure. You know, compared to last year, for sure they've upped it quite a bit. Last year, yeah, we had long days, but in difficulty-wise, it wasn't too bad. This year, they made it really tough for us, especially with 2 marathon stages. I don't recall they've had any other 2 marathon stages for a very, very long time, and definitely on the bikers, it took its toll.
Rian, just to take us through that, because what happens with the marathon stages overnight, you don't have your crew there to actually work on your motorcycle and help you get on your way. So Dale Curtis was languishing somewhere else and you were stuck on your own.
Yeah, you know, there's a class called Mile Motor where you have to do everything yourself, and that pretty much puts you in the same category. So for 2 days, you're not allowed any assistance. So you need to look after your motorcycle, your rear tire, and make sure you get the bike through 2 days without any assistance.
Rian, the other situation that you had this year is that you're kind of hanging on to the factory team, but you're a private, you're self-funded. How does that put you in the race?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough that I can join the KTM factory team, and you know, I get all the support that Comer would get. It's only I'm on a production bike, and you know, for sure it's a lot of help coming from that side, making my day a lot easier.
KTM and a new bike this year, tell us a bit about that.
KTM's got a totally new bike for the factory riders. They spend lots of time and money developing this bike, and it's great for them finishing first and second on the podium, especially with the first time at Dakar with a new bike.
And Rian, having Daryl as a team manager helping you in the pits, that sort of thing, how did that change things for you? Because last year he was riding with you.
Yes, having Daryl there helping me, it definitely helps me focus on my roadbook and my racing. He takes care of the media and all the marketing side of things, so I can totally focus on my race and concentrate going forward.
So he wasn't laying a sleeping bag at night for you?
Yeah, he did some washing and those kind of things for me, but you know, he definitely pulled his weight, and I really appreciate it.
You're on a large South African contingent this year, both in the pits and out on the track.
Yeah, it's always great as a South African when you see somebody else on the track, especially when you see a South African flag somewhere at the finish. It's a great feeling, and it's hard to describe, but it's always nice to see somebody there and that speaks the same language.
On that subject, you had Broadlink's Mike Brown along with Alan Smith for the ride and roughing it in the bivouac, and I know what that's like. It's pretty tough for those guys, eh?
Yeah, you can explain to somebody that a bivouac is hard, but you know, until you experience it, it's quite a different atmosphere. It's not an easy life, especially for the pit crew. You're in the dust. It's very hot and humid. And it's not an easy life for pit crew sitting in the bivouac the whole day waiting for their riders.
Once again, a fantastic result. Plans going forward?
Yeah, you know, obviously top 10 is my aim. It's quite a difficult nut to crack, but I know what I need to do to get there, and as the KTM Broadlink team, I think we're going to work towards that.
Staying with the Dakar news, and not many people realize that we had a large contingent of South Africans, as well as a rider all the way from Zambia, David Reeve. David, you went over to Dakar for the second time, actually, but this time around didn't go quite as planned. Just tell us what happened there.
Yeah, Dave, I went last year and I got sort of right up to stage 12, and unfortunately I had a crash and broke my leg. And so I went back this year, and you know, I need to get this finished. I've been racing for a long time, and unfortunately, come day 3, I hit a rock in the dust and went over the bars and dislocated my leg. Very, very frustrating. I know I'm well capable of finishing the race, and I moved through the ranks nicely. I started at 102, and after day 1, I was 30th. So I had a goal, and unfortunately, the rock got in the way, and yeah, ended the race for me very prematurely. Very frustrating.
Darryl Curtis, non-rider this year in the Dakar, had to go along as team manager. Sounds like you enjoyed it, although you did put your knee out at one stage.
I did, Dave. You know, it's always difficult being a racer and not racing. You know, Rian and myself were there last year. We got to the podium and everything else. And now it was very different for me, but I had to be realistic with myself. After my injuries last year, breaking my back and my shoulder, it was a year recovery, and I knew I wouldn't be ready for this year's Dakar.
Also now you've got some injury going in for another operation apparently, so it's a man of wars at the moment.
Yeah, I've been in big trouble. You know, being a year off the bike last year, my legs got a little bit weaker. I've always had a problem with my right knee. Training in Namibia, I tweaked my knee again. I've ripped all the ligaments off, so they're doing 3 procedures this week. So I'm going to be out of action for a couple of months still, and that's going to enable me to carry on with the marketing and the media exercise around Rian and try and grow the team.
Being behind Rian, you probably saw it from a totally different perspective.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed looking after Rian because it gave me there was a totally different perspective to the athlete and to the management of the athlete and what we need as a team to go forward. And this is what I'm going to be concentrating on in 2014.
Daryl, you've got to be very proud of Rian though, because he just plodded away, he just kept going, he had his ups and downs, the one fantastic day. You just got to be so proud of him.
I'm extremely proud of Rian, and you know, Broadlink as well. We knew from the beginning, we recognized the talent with Rian. I've known him for many, many years. Riding in the mountains always, he's got a very good a knack for navigation, and I think this is key to his success. You can be a fast rider, if you don't know how to navigate, you're going to be nowhere. And very little mistakes. He made one mistake early in the race, he lost about 2 hours, dropping him out of the top 10. If you look at the end results, had he not made that mistake, he would have been in the top 10.
And going forward, obviously, you said you're going to be marketing the whole thing. Any races in mind though, because you can't just go to the Dakar and race the desert, can you?
That's right. It's so difficult for us to compete with all the factory riders without racing the World Championship. The idea this year is to go and raise additional funding and try and get Rian out to 1 or 2 more of the World Championship events this year. And also, it's very tough for the team having one rider. You know, we'd like to start introducing more riders, and it's great for South Africa to put more South Africans back in the Dakar Rally. It really is all about funding. And the way the Rand's gone now, it's tough. But we'd like to look at other races, for Qatar, for example, or maybe the Egypt Rally if it comes back onto the calendar, and maybe 1 or 2 others.
What a fantastic effort then from the KTM Broadlink Dakar team. Well done to Mark Comer, picking up his 2nd win in the Dakar.